United Student Government is under scrutiny after an article in last week's Globe that not only criticizing USG's budget, but also asked if USG has been completely fair with students. Is USG doing something wrong? Let's take a look. 3,000-word article developed from a 5-month investigation. The Globe accused USG of cutting funds to various organizations, making large purchases for itself, and raising student activity funds that were then not used. USG Treasurer Bree Frent said that she was approached by the Globe in October about a story that would discuss USG's finances. She said the final product shocked her.
I was very excited about it. I wanted students to see the changes in USG that we were making. So I started interviewing with them, answered lots of questions, went through hours of looking up stuff for them, and the article came out on student activity fees and USG not putting their money out there correctly, which I had no idea that that's what the article was going to be about, so it definitely hit when I saw it for the first time.
Faint has concerns about the way the Globe reported how USG hands out money. She pointed to one club that the Globe asserted requested $6,000 but only received $985.
What they did not tell you is that that club asked for a $5,000 speaker for about 12 members. So if you round that, each member is paying a little under $500 for one speaker to get that money. And as a student organization that looks at the bigger picture, is that benefiting the school as a whole? So we cut that brought it down to $1,000. And then we cut a little bit of money for supplies. And that was it. So I feel like numbers like that seem extreme and seem, in a way, slashing. But when you look further into it, it is not as bad as it looks.
Brianna Hallett was the co-author of the story. She says Faint is taking a small portion of one large report and blowing it out of proportion.
It's one paragraph, you know what I mean? Like, how do you sum up what happened in one paragraph?
Hallett says she became interested in USG's budget when she noticed that many clubs were being disbanded and student activity fees were still going up.
The student activity fee was raised. We found that out from $75 a semester to $160 a semester, which is a 113% increase. So that raised a lot of questions for us in our minds, like why, where is that money going? So we did some investigating. Unfortunately, we didn't get far with that side of it, but we did find some things that we didn't agree with the way USG was allocating the funds that come from that student activity fee.
I think that the important thing to remember with student activity fee money is that it's money that the university is deciding to let students take a look at and decide how to control and what to do with it.
Anthony Kostoulis is a current USG senator and a candidate for USG president. He told Point News Now that the Globe in its reports failed to see the bigger picture.
They focus on student activity fee and the way that it's being spent at this school. But one of the facts that they really overlook is that in the article they attack USG, but really USG has control of 11% of that budget. The story really left out the other 89%.
The Globe's report includes this diagram outlining how funds are allocated. It showed that USG was given more than $54,000 for the fall 2010 semester. And out of that total, clubs and organizations requested a little more than $42,000. USG approved almost $15,000, but only $6,000 was actually spent by clubs in the fall semester.
That's awful. Why would you request money if you don't want to use it, if you're not going to spend it? I mean, that's what it's there for.
The issue of student clubs not using the money provided to them is one issue the Globe reviewed. The report also points out the huge sum of money that is being untouched.
The reason that we run into this issue, we leave a supplementary fund for clubs to come and use. And we don't want to get down to a $1,000 mark, $500 mark that last semester, because we don't know if either A, a club's going to come in and have an event, or B, a club might bring in a receipt that they didn't tell us about before that we're going to have to pay for, and we don't have money left over. It's kind of a precaution in finance that you have to kind of not expect the worst, but expect situations that you have no control to pop up.
So is USG to blame for misusing student activity fee money, or is this a simple case of a misunderstanding?
They think they hit a lot of key points, and they asked a lot of good questions. They came in here and interviewed us with a lot of good questions, but they put those questions in the article when they had the answers, and that's where I kind of had a problem with it.
There were terms in there that were obviously built up or meant to infer that there was a scandal. There's no way to deny it. Power of words, it's really dangerous. I don't want to say biased, but I will say sensationalized.
This wasn't just put out there just as a last minute thing, so I think that needs to be taken into consideration when reading it and when trying to understand, why we wrote what we wrote. I mean, it wasn't just to make ourselves look good, certainly wasn't to fill space in the paper, it was to get a point across that we think the students need to know.
Next Monday, USG and university administrators will meet to find out where the other 89% of the student activity fee is going. Today's Globe included a message to the editor from USG that explained the side of the story. Earlier this week, when USG had asked the Globe to write a retraction, the Globe declined, saying that, quote, nothing in their story was wrong, unquote. There should be many updates in the coming weeks. Reporting for Point News Now, I'm Emily Burke. Now, back to the desk.
Thanks, Emily. Speaking of USG, you can catch the 2011 USG election special live next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. right here on UView. We'll have Q&A with the major candidates, and they'll also lay out their plans for the upcoming year.
In like a lion and out like a lion, that's the way March has been, Josh, and we're going to talk to Ashley Janosko.
Ashley?
Thanks, guys. We have an interesting weather scenario going on right now. As of right now, it's March, turning into April. You would think that's supposed to be nice, but it's not. Let's take a look. 36 degrees with a low of 33. And tonight, it's not even going to be any better than that. We're expecting snow and rain flurries. And tonight there's possible chance of 1 inch. So waking up tomorrow could be a little bit difficult because there's going to be even more snow, which is a little bit upsetting because everyone's excited about baseball and it just became April. But unfortunately, it is cold and rainy. Let's check out our 5-day forecast though. Thursday, 45 degrees with a low of 35. Friday, 47. And it's going to be, once again, like I said, rainy and snowy for a while. Saturday, it's also going to be raining and snowing. We just can't get enough of this flurries right now. 44 degrees with a low of 35. Finally, Sunday, we see a little bit of dryness. It's not going to be as snowy or rainy, but it is going to be 49 with a low of 41. And then Monday, we get back to the weather, which is gross and rainy and flurrying. That is our 5-day forecast. I'm Ashley Janosko, and back to the desk.
When we come back, we'll have Mike McElroy here with sports.
Point Park's baseball and softball teams have played 4 games in their last week, and Mike's going to tell us all about it right here on Point News. Point Park sports had a busy weekend and a rainy week.
That's right, Mike. How did the teams fare?
Well, guys, the Point Park baseball team looks to continue its impressive start into the season this weekend. Pioneers travel to Malone tomorrow. The first game starts at 1 o'clock. Last weekend, the Pioneers played 4 games against the SUNY Canton Kangaroos and won all 4 games in a dominant fashion. The combined score of the 4 games was Point Park 48, SUNY Canton 4. Weather has gotten in the way since then. The Pioneers were scheduled to play West Virginia Tech on Tuesday, but the game was postponed. As of now, there's no makeup game scheduled. They were scheduled to play Wheeling Jesuit yesterday. That game was postponed as well. The Point Park softball team also had success over the weekend. The ladies played Fairmont State on Saturday. They lost the first game 1-0, but they won the second game 8-1. On Sunday, they played Penn State Fayette and had no trouble in either game, winning the first game 11-0 and the second game 17-2. However, their success did not carry over into the week. The ladies traveled to West Liberty on Tuesday, lost game 1 4-3, and lost game 2 10-8. The ladies travel to Mount Vernon Nazarene tomorrow. The first game starts at 3. In professional sports news, the Penguins are making their push to the playoffs. Tonight, the Pens play the Tampa Bay Lightning. The puck drops at 7 o'clock. The Pens had won their previous 4 games in shootouts before the rival Philadelphia Flyers knocked them off on Tuesday. The final score was 5-2. The Pens have 5 games remaining in the regular season, and that loss is doubtful that the Pens can get to the points necessary to overtake the Flyers for first place in the Atlantic Division. There is some good news on the injury front for the Penguins, however. Team captain Sidney Crosby has been cleared for non-contact practices, but there is still no timetable for his return. 2011 Major League Baseball season opened today with the Detroit Tigers facing the New York Yankees in the first game of the regular season. That game ended. Yankees beat Detroit 6-3. Another game that has also ended, the Atlanta Braves beat the Washington Nationals 2-0. The Pirates have their season opener tomorrow in Chicago against the Cubs. The Bucks' home opener is next Thursday versus the Colorado Rockies. That's it for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Mike. Well, we'd like to remind you again about the 2011 USG Special. It will be live right here in the studio next Thursday, April 7th at 6:30. Students are encouraged to come ready with questions for their candidates. And that is going to do it here for Point News Now.
And this breaking news, the Bronx Zoo has reported late this afternoon that the Egyptian cobra that has been missing for 5 days has been found, and that the reptile pit where it had been reported missing 5 days ago.
The cobra became an internet sensation, sort of. A Twitter account was established for it, and that person was regularly tweeting about the snake's supposed trips around New York. Our next newscast is Thursday at 5. We'll see you next week.